Hello, welcome back to another episode of Eat Well, Feel Well. I am your host, Dr. Brittany Panico. I'm a board certified rheumatologist in Arizona and practice at Summit Rheumatology in Gilbert. I am here to highlight anti-inflammatory recipes and nutritious ingredients to help you and your busy family eat well and feel well. So welcome back for another weekly episode. Today is a little bit different because I'm not necessarily going to feature a specific recipe, but more highlight ingredients in the recipes that we've already been talking about. So I want to talk about the difference between oils today. And what I mean by that is when we talk about extra virgin olive oil, when we talk about using coconut oil, and then different recipes that call for seed oils, and then really talk about that in comparison to standard cooking oil or vegetable oil. So let's get right on into it today. I will say that most of the ingredients that we feature, or that I've been featuring so far, talk about using extra virgin olive oil. And this is my go-to olive oil. I get it from Costco. I know I talk about shopping at Costco quite a bit, but I do get my olive oil from Costco, and I usually just buy whatever the cheaper version is. I'm not tied to organic versus the other version. I look at the price. To be completely honest with you, I try to be economical in how I grocery shop, and just picking the cheaper version is how I make my decision. That being said, if you are somebody who has specific food sensitivities, or you do notice that there is a difference between organic and non-organic products, then Costco does make both an organic and a not organic version. And the biggest difference, aside from packaging, is how the olives are harvested. So organic is less pesticides, less sort of chemical things that the plants are exposed to, versus traditional farming methods where there's potentially pesticides, and it's just not, they're not grown on what we consider an organic farm or in organic conditions. So we can get into that in another video, sort of differentiating organic versus non-organic products, but it's really highlighting, again, the type of oil that I want to emphasize today. So olive oil is pressed from olives, okay? And traditionally comes from places like Greece or Italy. There are definitely olive oils produced in the United States. In Arizona, we have Queen Creek Olive Mill. And so you can buy local sourced harvested products as well. Costco, their label says packaged in Italy with select oils from Portugal, Tunisia, Spain, Italy, and Greece. So again, international products, but olive oil is cold pressed, cold extracted, meaning not from heat. That's another big important distinguishing feature between the different types of oils. So your more seed oil products are going to be extracted via cold measures, meaning not heated up to extract the oil to melt the product. So something like Crisco, your vegetable oil, this is soybean oil, okay? And you can get different types of vegetable oil. It can come from different vegetables, but Crisco, this particular one that I got from the grocery store, that you're going to see is an ingredient in a lot of your baked goods. Okay, so your packaged products, if you make muffins from a package, or you're following a recipe that involves baking, then most baking will call for vegetable oil. And that is going to be heat processed to extract the oil. And that process of heating down the component to extract the oil does alter the chemical composition of the ingredients or the molecules, in particular, the nutritional benefits of the product. So when you think about vegetables, of course we talk about vegetables are healthy, but the process of breaking them down to an oil, so soybean products, right? Breaking down into soybean oil is a very high heat intense process that denatures or changes the composition of the ingredients, the nutritional benefits, the vitamins of that product, and extracts it into an oil form that is liquid at room temperature. And vegetable oil does not really solidify. Crisco is more of a solid form because that is more of like a lard or fat component. It's not as much oil, but it's not going to be solid. And that right there kind of tells you that the chemical composition, right, has changed because we don't see vegetables melting under higher temperatures. And so that process changes the molecule. So a lot of the vitamins, particularly vitamin E, the A vitamins, the carotene, the antioxidant components that we're looking for in your cold pressed product are going to be modified, and they're no longer going to be useful to our body. So when we eat or ingest something like vegetable oil, we're really just metabolizing the fats or the omega-6s, the high number omega fats. And that leads to the development of higher cholesterol levels over time. So we talk about LDL, meaning that kind of bad cholesterol that leads to heart disease. And then also, our body doesn't really know how to metabolize something like this. So it's just going to be kind of stored and compartmentalized and turned into more fat and just excess material. Whereas we can metabolize the vitamins and nutritional benefit from something like olive oil, and we can make use of that. And there are antioxidants and polyphenol products that our body will make use of to decrease and combat inflammation. And one of the products that I love the most for that purpose is coconut oil. I have talked about this coconut oil on several videos, and my trusted Costco tub of coconut oil. So here in Arizona, coconut oil is liquid in the summertime and solid in the winter because of the temperature. So you can see the fluctuation of this, right? This is something that can be a solid or a liquid. And there are many, many more omega-3s to omega-6s. So the ratio of healthy omega-3s is higher than bad or unhealthy omega-6s in something like coconut oil. This is also an organic product. And coconut oil is very anti-inflammatory. Coconut oil and avocado oil, actually, I would say are probably the most high on the list of anti-inflammatory oils. And that's because of, again, that omega-3 content, plus vitamins like vitamin E, vitamin A, you have those carotene components in them. And there's also antibacterial products in coconut oil and avocado oil. So that's helpful as well because you're getting so many natural, healthy, good things, molecules, and elements from those oils rather than a manufactured product like vegetable oil. Another thing that I'd like to highlight is a lot of times we reach for quick and easy things, right? We want a non-stick surface. We don't necessarily want to dollop a glob of coconut oil on a pan, or let's say that you're looking for a non-stick, baking substitute. So PAM traditionally markets vegetable oil products, but now they have a whole line of sprayable non-vegetable oil products. So I reach for the PAM coconut oil. They do have avocado oil. They also make kind of a flour baking spray, but again, the base of that oil is going to be vegetable oil. So when you're out and about grocery shopping and you're sort of thinking about the things that you routinely buy, what I really want to encourage you to do is think about, how can I substitute this product for something that's going to be a healthier alternative? What can I do to change the way that I use everyday things and just make them a little bit healthier? And this is a really great way to do that because you're still providing the non-stick, right, superior non-stick cooking product. And Pam actually, this is smart marketing because they're taking an oil that works best under high heat. So when you think about something like stir fry, or you're gonna, cook up a product over an electric or gas stove, the heat ratio is pretty high compared to baking at a low heat, like vegetable oil. So coconut oil and olive oil and the seed oils are better oils at high heat because they retain their, again, nutritious components. They're not going to essentially be converted into something more chemically like vegetable oil. So vegetable oil, although they don't specifically tell you in the marketing of the product, is best suited at medium temperatures. At high temperatures, as I'm sure you've realized if you used vegetable oil at high temperatures, like frying, for example, before air fryers were a thing, we used to fry with oil in a pan, then you're going to have a lot of evaporation. You're going to have a lot of smoke, and the smell is going to change. And you're just going to notice that the oil doesn't specifically retain its composition at that high heat. So although coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil are not meant for frying purposes, they are best suited at cooking at higher temperatures. So they're not going to evaporate. They're not going to have that smoke, sort of toxic off-gassing that you would see with vegetable oil at high temperatures. And that's also important because I do talk a lot about, really incorporating your family. Maybe you have children that you're trying to teach to cook or learn kitchen skills. You want to be careful with oil because of the temperature and the ability for the oil to splatter and burn. So if you're cooking something over a lower temperature with less of that popping and off-gassing, then it's going to be safer for the whole family to get into the kitchen and enjoy the process of making your meal. So that's another sort of win in my eyes of cooking with these other products. And then the thing with seed oils. So seed oils has gained a lot of popularity, particularly grapeseed oil is used in a lot of like dressing recipes, like salad dressing recipes. Some of the more like decadent type of things you may find ask for things like grapeseed oil. And grapeseed oil is, again, a high cooking oil. And the seed oils are going to be, again, have more of that vitamin rich composition than a vegetable oil. So right on the label here, grapeseed oil is a natural light cooking oil that is best for stir frying, deep frying, and baking. It's a rich source of vitamin E, and also those omega-3 fatty acids compared to the less desirable omega-6s. So grapeseed oil is another thing. I would say the main reason that a lot of people don't cook with this is because it's more expensive. So we traditionally aren't going to grab for the most expensive product and use that in our everyday cooking. So if you have something that you're wanting to make taste a little bit more decadent, or not necessarily have that, again, that olive oil sort of flavor, then grapeseed oil is a really great substitute. And again, as you notice, it doesn't come in as big of a jug. It's just not as economical at high volumes, but it is a really great baking substitute as well. I don't specifically have a bottle on hand, but peanut oil is another alternative to vegetable oil that you can cook with. If you have a nut allergy, then of course you're not going to want to use peanut oil. But for a lot of those sort of like frying things, again, that's not really an anti-inflammatory diet recipe. But if you are somebody who does occasional, frying, then peanut oil is a great substitute for that vegetable oil. And then also another oil that I don't have on hand is avocado. I briefly touched about the vitamin components of avocado oil, and that one is another healthy oil that's used in salad dressings. It makes a wonderful salad dressing. And then palm oil is kind of another one that it's between that seed oil and vegetable oil. It's more along the lines of vegetable oil. I would steer clear of buying products specifically with palm oil, only because of the environmental impact. We're realizing that the palm oil is actually connected to a lot of deforestation, and the way that it's collected is not specifically environmentally friendly. Again, it kind of goes into that like off-gassing and smoke and environmental impact kind of component. So I know a lot of like peanut butter products and nut butter products are made with palm oils. And then interestingly enough, like pet food products or products that we may, not necessarily think of as being an environmental issue do have palm oil. So if you're somebody who's conscious about that, that may just be an interesting kind of tidbit for you. But palm oil is not something that traditionally we cook with a lot, but it is an oil that's out there and available. So I hope this breaks down a lot of the questions, or just like the differentiating factors between different oils that we can use in cooking. Specifically related to like butter products, I know a lot of times we think of, okay, well, can I substitute margarine or butter for an oil? And the exact conversion is dependent on the recipe. But if you are going to make a choice between a healthier version of a butter product, then the grass-fed, sort more naturally sourced butter products are going to be a little bit healthier for you. Again, butter is still more of that kind of unhealthy, saturated omega-6 type fatty acids than the healthier versions of oil, or the seed oils or coconut oil. But not all butter is bad. I don't want us to necessarily think of things being good or bad, but not all butter is necessarily anti-inflammation or anti-inflammatory friendly, so to speak. So if you can make substitutes to use less butter, that is more desirable. But again, not everything can be exactly converted, especially in baking. There still is a role for using butter products in cooking, obviously, and you can make more sort of healthy choices, again, with using that sort of more naturally churned butter. There's a lot of places like the health food stores that you can buy, butter that looks more homemade than mass produced and marketed chemical issued butter. The products that come in the refrigerated section, that I can't believe it's not those artificial butter things. Those are loaded with chemicals, and I do not recommend those at all. Those are not great substitutes. It's just taking one undesirable thing and substituting it for something that's been much more chemically modified to make taste like butter. And our digestive system does not do well with those at all. So I would steer clear of the butter alternatives, or even the oil alternatives, things that are marketed to be a health food or low fat option, are not specifically desirable because they are extremely chemically modified. One thing that I would like to bring up when it comes to oil, and the reason that we sort of as a culture view them as not specifically healthy, is because of the high calorie content. So just to give you an example, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil is 120 calories. And then I believe they should all be about the same. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil is 120 calories. Same with vegetable oil, and same with the grapeseed oil. So calorie to calorie per serving is roughly the same. However, what those calories do once you ingest them into your body is dramatically different. So when you think about 120 calories of fat, processed, something that your body doesn't recognize, that's going to be stored and metabolized as fat. When you think about 120 calories as something that your body knows what to do with, you can actually use it for a good purpose. Vitamins, anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, polyphenols, things that help your digestive system recover and metabolize nutritious things, that is going to be much more easy to digest on your system, less stored as fat and carbohydrate, and much cleaner for your body to process than something that is chemically modified and the same amount of calories. So again, when you're looking at the label, the numbers on the label don't tell you the whole story. It's how that product is made, how that product is modified, and what the core ingredients are for that product that give you a much better idea of what your body, what your digestive tract is going to do with those ingredients. So again, our body is meant to digest things like coconut oil or olive oil or a seed oil. Our body is not so much made to digest a chemically modified soybean oil product, okay, or something that's been chemically refined to become something else, okay? Looking at a soybean, you don't specifically think about an oil. You're not going to hold it in your hand and think that an oil will come out of it. However, when you hold a coconut oil, a raw, unchanged coconut, you can actually envision how an oil, how this product is made from the meat portion of the coconut. That is possible. Same with an olive. You can press an olive, you can break down an olive and see the juice or the oil come out of it. So again, one way to help encourage you to make these choices when you're out in the store grocery shopping or when you're thinking about components of a recipe is, can you envision that thing as its most natural form? Because it's going to be less chemically modified, less produced by a machine or modified by a machine in a factory somewhere. So of course they're packaged, they are processed. I'm not arguing that. But the product that you're putting into your body, into your digestive tract, is that something that looks like its original form, or you can envision that coming from its original form. So that is part of the anti-inflammatory, one of the basis components of anti-inflammatory eating. So I hope you found this video helpful to break down the differences between the different cooking oils that we talk about in these recipes. Again, making really healthy, conscious choices about what we're making our meals with. Extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, seed oils, if you desire them, avocado oil. Those are going to be your top choices for cooking with. And then try to substitute vegetable oil out of your routine. So thank you so much for joining me this week, and I welcome any feedback. If you want any sort of recipe or cooking myth debunked, or to break down, again, components of things like that, then I welcome feedback. I'm more than happy to do a video highlighting any of those topics, and hope to see you back next week. Thank you, and eat well, feel well this week with another fun recipe. Take care.